Hi everyone, thank you for tuning into my video. And I know it's been a minute since I've last posted. Well, actually a long minute, because the last time that, like my last video was when I did a prank on my boyfriend, which I read the comments a couple weeks ago and I saw that majority of people thought that we broke up, which is completely understandable because I posted that video and I never posted anything after, so I understand why everyone thought that. But we didn't break up. In that video I was pregnant with my first son, and now we have 3 beautiful boys. My youngest is currently 7 months, and he's right here next to me in case you guys hear him. But I'm basically making this video so I can tell you guys how I found out that my son had a rare blood disorder. But I'm trying to make it quick as possible. I'm not gonna get too much into detail because I don't want to get anything wrong, like any of the medical terms or what they mean or what they have in it or what they do. But I'll tell you guys the name, and if you guys are free to see what they mean. But I'll start from the beginning. So on a Monday, which is about 2 weeks ago if I'm not mistaken, my son caught a virus that was going around. And 2 of my sons, a 1-year-old, I have a 3-year-old, 1-year-old, and 7-month-old. So my 1-year-old and my 7-month-old had got this virus where they had diarrhea and vomiting. But my 7-month-old, it didn't hit him as hard. Like, he was able to, like, he got over it. But my 1-year-old did not. He just continued having diarrhea. He couldn't hold nothing down. He couldn't drink anything. He even vomited with water, Pedialyte, especially dairy. So I took him to the hospital, and they basically said that they cannot do anything because he's too young for them to give him anything. So we went home. So that happened Monday. And then Friday, I start seeing bruises on his legs, which I didn't think nothing of because, you know, they're kids. Kids tend to get bruises. So, like, it was nothing to alarm me, basically. So then Saturday comes, and I noticed that he has more bruises on his legs, but they're bigger. So then I start looking around his body, and I see bruises, like a couple bruises on his arm, on his back, his stomach, his legs. But he had 2 really, really big bruises on his foot, one on his foot and one on his leg. So then when we got to the hospital, the doctors, the first thing they asked me is if he's being abused at home or at daycare, and I told them no, that I just brought him to the hospital on Monday because of this, like, of the diarrhea and vomiting, and on Friday started noticing these bruises, and now I'm here. I want to, like, find out why he's getting these bruises. So then they did all of these x-rays. They took pictures of, like, probably 30 pictures of everywhere, of everywhere of his body. And then they did blood work, and when the blood work came back, they said his platelets were at 12, which was a dangerous number. And when I say 12, I mean like 12,000. And they said that the normal range is supposed to be from 140 to 400, like 140,000 to 400,000, and he was at 12. And they said that that's dangerous because he could get hurt. I mean, he could, like, bleed out. And just by the nurses holding him down to get the IV, because he was fighting them, because he's never gotten blood drawn, he was fighting them, and just by them touching him or putting the rubber band to, like, put pressure on his vein, he was getting bruises just from that. So they already knew something was wrong, that it wasn't me abusing him, because just by them holding him, he was getting all these bruises. So then they said that that's like an emergency room, that they don't have rooms there to be admitted and to stay over the night to see what's going on. So then they transferred him to a hospital that was 50 minutes away. And when we got to that hospital, his blood platelets dropped from 12 to 2, which was a very dangerous number, because now it was at the point where he didn't even have to bump himself in order to bleed out. Like, he could have bled out spontaneously, like he could have bled out from his brain, which would have been very bad. But luckily even though they were that low, like nothing happened. So then he ended up receiving his first treatment, and the hematologist spoke to me after the treatment, and they said that 80% of kids do great off of this treatment, and they get this treatment and they never get it again, basically. So then I had hoped that it would work. So when he got the treatment, it actually made him feel really sick. When he woke up, he was like vomiting, he had diarrhea, he was weak, he was pale, all he wanted to do was sleep. And I told the doctor that he's not feeling good. So then when they checked his platelets, they went up a little bit, like very little. And then when they took blood again, it started dropping. So then they ended up giving him a second treatment called Winrow, but they didn't want to give him the IVIG because they saw that like his body was not responding good to it. It was making him feel sick. So they didn't want to make him feel sick again. Like they didn't want him to feel worse. So they ended up giving him Winrow. So then the Winrow worked so good. His blood platelets went from 12 to 32, if I'm not mistaken, and we were so happy because as long as they were at 20, we could go home, and then like he can get better at home. But then on the next time they checked his blood, it had only gone up 2 numbers, and the next time they took out blood, it went up 1, and then from there it started dropping. The hematologist said that they're gonna have to remove, like put him to sleep, remove bone marrow from his back, and that way they can see like what's going on, like if his body's producing it, and if it is producing it, what's killing him. After the bone marrow, he got his third treatment, which was Winrow again. And I had hopes in this Winrow because the first time that he got it, his numbers went up. So, but this time they didn't go up. They actually had the opposite effect. This time when he woke up, he ended up getting jaundice, where like your eyes are yellow, his skin was pale, his tongue was pale, like it wasn't pink, it was already like turning white, and his lips, and he basically like looked different. Like he felt fine. He wasn't vomiting or having diarrhea, or he didn't feel weak or down. He was still happy and still like playing and being his normal self, but his appearance looked different. He also had a blister, but I call it like a blister on his tongue the size of a pea, which is an effect of the ITP. So then when they took his blood work, it actually had no effect. It didn't even go up. So then they're like, oh, it's probably because we took out the blood too soon, so we're gonna wait till 4 in the morning the next day to see if they've gone up. And then the next day comes, and like his red blood count started dropping, his hemoglobin started dropping. They said if his hemoglobin drops 7 and under, he'll need a blood transfusion. And at the time he got the third treatment, which was the second Winrow, his hemoglobin was at 11. No, it was at 10. And then after the treatment, it went from 10 to 8. And when they took out his blood again, it went from 8 to 7.3. So then they said that he'll need the blood transfusion tomorrow, which is supposed to be today. And they said that they're gonna try one more treatment, which was a steroid. And if the steroid didn't stop his platelets from dropping, that they'll have to do the blood transfusion. So he got the steroid yesterday, and I just and then I just sat with him and I prayed and prayed and prayed. I prayed the whole time, but like last night I prayed the most. And when I woke up in the morning, I had the best news because the steroids actually made his blood platelets rise, his hemoglobin rise, his red blood count rise, and so it ended up working. So the steroids actually worked, but I'm still currently waiting on his bone marrow results, which I get tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. I get on Monday, and today is Saturday. So on Monday we'll go back. We'll see if the steroids continue working, and we'll get the bone marrow results. And from what I know of, ITP basically is a rare blood disorder that affects your blood from clotting. So if I were to get a cut, my blood would clot, like my blood platelets would cause my blood to clot, so I don't continue bleeding. But in his case, since his blood platelets are so low, he can spontaneously bleed out for no apparent reason. He can bleed from his brain. But yeah, on Monday we'll go back to the hematologist and we'll get his bone marrow results. We'll see if the steroids are working, and I'll keep you guys updated. So all I ask is for you guys to keep him in your prayers. That's the best thing we need right now. And I'll keep you guys updated on what's going on. And if you guys have any questions or any video ideas for me to do next, or if you guys would like to see something, you guys can comment below. I'll be reading your comments. But thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time.